Okay, so before we get to the next exercise, I'm going to go over some more instruct stuff. So you might have seen that there's the editor on the top left, but I haven't actually gone into it yet. So here you can see it's like your typical VS Code or any of the development environments. You can see these different things. So currently we're in the Docker training section here. And there's some example Docker files here, such as BAM stats, BWA, and SAM tools. But for the next exercise, we'll be using this Docker file here. And we have this Docker file for the BWA as a reference because they are quite similar. And we also have the solution here. So try not to look at the solution before you figure this out. But again, if you look here, I can click on this and it opens here. And as you can see, there's typical Docker image that I just showed. However, it's missing some stuff. So it's missing the base image and whatnot. So you'll be, in this exercise, you'll be going through this and fixing it. One thing to note is if you make a change, it doesn't automatically save. You have to click this save icon up here. So make sure you do that, or else you'll get errors when it tries to build it, but it'll say this is invalid. So make sure to save it. And again, here in this BWA example, you can open that, and this is the working BWA workflow, or sorry, working BWA Docker file. Okay. So this is just an overview of the next exercise. You'll be writing your first Docker file, and this is using the Tabix software, which is used to index genome position files. So you're going to use that skeleton Docker file I showed, which is also shown here, and you're going to update it to get it working. And you can use the BWA Docker file that I showed as well in the editor as a base. But the gist of what you'll want to do is you're going to try updating the base image to Ubuntu 18.04. You're going to install any extra dependencies. In this case, there's no extra dependencies. And then you're finally going to install the analysis software. So this is also using APT, and the software is called Tabix. So once you have that done, don't forget to save it up here. And then you'll want to build the image from the Docker file using the commands that I just went through. So once you've finished with the Docker file and you save it, don't forget to build it using the build commands. So here's an example at the bottom of this slide. And remember, the -f is optional. If you're in the same directory as the Docker file, it's not required. So one option is to change directories into the folder that contains that Docker file. Okay, yeah, only edit anything that's in these curly braces for this tutorial. Sorry, I should have emphasized that. Everything else, just leave it as is. So yeah, you're gonna have to keep the user root and also the apt update commands. I think the apt update command will update the list of dependencies that the container knows about. And then that's why I can't find Tabix, because it doesn't have the updated list of dependencies. Okay, so this is the solution. As you can see, it looks pretty similar to the BWA Docker file. Actually, the only difference is that the apt install installs Tabix instead of BWA. And here is, I hope that's not blocking. At the bottom of the screen, there is the...
it's blocking.
Okay. It's gone now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yes, at the bottom of the screen, there's one possible command that you could have run. This is assuming that you didn't change directories. So it's going to build, it's going to say -t Tabix, so it's going to name it Tabix. It's going to set the Docker file to be that path shown there. And it's going to use the period as the build context, so the current directory. But if you had changed directories, you probably wouldn't need that -f. Also, it wasn't necessary to name it Tabix. Like, you could still build it without the -t, but it's useful for referencing later on.